Derek Stingley to the Houston Texans. It feels like we've come full circle here, Sam, right? I mean, Stingley looked like a Patrick Peterson, a Jalen Ramsey, one of those elite type of prospects. And then he went up. He was staying up there. Then he went down. The injuries and all this stuff. But the Texans are banking on, look, 2019, some of the best film we've ever seen in college football history, probably, from a true freshman. Texans are banking on getting back to that.
Yeah, that freshman season, he had a PFF coverage grade of 91.7. He allowed 37% of passes thrown into his coverage to be caught. He had a ton of interceptions. He had a ton of pass breakups. He didn't have penalties, which is something that often offsets those things. He was the perfect cornerback prospect, and then he got injuries. And we didn't really see that guy again for another couple of years. Now, I know Mike Renner on the main show has been saying that the next 2 years, the reports of how bad that was have been a little bit overdone. They weren't quite as bad, but whatever. The Texans are drafting the guy hoping they get that 2019 version. And look, we've been saying that this is a draft that is not full of top 10 caliber players, right? Obviously, the quarterbacks are not at that elite level. We haven't had anybody who's the presumptive number one overall pick. So, but we've been talking picking holes in all the edge rushers, right? Hutchinson isn't the cleanest prospect in the world. Trayvon Walker has no production at college, yet he goes number one. Derek Stingley is the guy who has the all-world superstar potential, right? We've seen it. 2019, Derek Stingley showed that not only was he the best cornerback in the nation, but that's top 5 NFL cornerback potential. He's the complete cornerback prospect. If you're the Texans and you just traded away, your most important asset, the foundation piece of your team, you are looking for new cornerstones to rebuild this thing. Derek Stingley is an absolute swing for the fences.
I like that a lot for the Texans. I didn't know if they had it in them, Sam. I mean, we've sat here on the podcast talking a lot about what are the moves the Texans are making. And it's a whole bunch of 1-year contracts and 2-year contracts. And they're filling in the gaps. And they've got special teamers and backup linebackers through the roof. They got all that stuff. Now they have a potential superstar.
Yeah.
And let's just back up 3 years when they were in the playoffs and Deshaun Watson was their quarterback. They could not compete in the AFC playoffs because of their secondary. And their roster just slowly got worse and worse and worse. And I like the idea of building that back up again. Lovie Smith, we talked a lot too on the pod. Is it just a cover 2 scheme? No, they play everything. They play man. Stingley is probably the best man corner, but he could do it all. And we saw that from his workouts where he didn't have the best looking jumps in the world, but the dude is just a natural athlete, a natural playmaker. There's some risk. There's some risk with any corner. There's some risk with the injuries, but I love it that the payoff can be huge. But the Texans also have number 13 as well. And that's another part of this whole equation.
Yeah, look, everyone has been sort of speculating. What are the Texans going to do now that they're kind of doing this for the first time in terms of starting this project, right? Watson departs, they get all the draft capital. Now they get to start whatever it is they're going to be building there. And everyone kind of assumed that I think they would go for some kind of safe pick. And by that, I mean position-wise, right? They'd go somewhere in the trenches because that's how you start building these things. You get an offensive lineman or you get a defensive cornerstone, whether it's Trayvon Walker before he went number one. Jordan Davis at 13 has been talked of as a pick. But the first thing they do is go after that absolute home run spot, which is corner. If you're going to pick a non-quarterback, cornerbacks, wide receivers are the 2 positions that PFF WAR says are going to make the most difference to you winning or losing games. And I think you can definitely make the case that there aren't really any wide receivers in this class that are worthy of that. No guys you think can be that superstar player, but corner has maybe 2 of them. And Derek Stingley is the guy they think is the highest ceiling of that group. Dude, Nick Caserio takes a lot of crap for the sort of the way he runs this thing so far, but I really like this as a statement move for their first real decision in a post Deshaun Watson landscape.
I'm absolutely all for it, right? They traded Deshaun Watson. They got the extra first-round pick. That was the start, and now a potential superstar. Like I said, if you said this a year ago, Stingley's going to go 3, nobody bats an eye. They're like, yeah, sure. And then he comes out in 2020, and he's hurt again, and he still doesn't look right. So, yeah, we're a couple years removed from looking good. This is not a common thing that you hear from an elite prospect. But I think it's a unique situation for Stingley. And really I think it's worthwhile to take this shot if you're the Texans. And again, if it doesn't hit, you can make it up with other picks.
And if those reports are true that he was battling through, a serious foot injury last year, it goes a long way to explaining it, right? He didn't just get a small nothing injury. He had a legit problem, gutted it out anyway, right? Went out there, played hard for his team, didn't play as well as you want to see, but played. Like, that's the point. He went out there and did what he could for his team, and it potentially was going to cost him draft position if he played badly. So I think, honestly, if those reports are true, that stands in his stead. It's not a bad thing that he didn't play well through injury. Players typically don't. The fact that he was willing to go out there, give it a shot, potentially risk his own draft stock for the betterment of his team is a good thing if you're bringing in, a cornerstone, a new foundation piece for your secondary.
At the end of the day, I think we all looked at Derek Stingley, Ahmad Sauce Gardner, maybe 1A as far as corners go, but Stingley, the upside through the roof. Love the home run attempt by the Houston Texans.
Yep.